Back when I was a wee little idiot of a child, the quality of any anime I watched relied exclusively on how powerful the protagonist was. You see, back in middle school, I was really into Naruto. Look at this, I still got my little plastic kunai. But it would tick me off whenever I'd talk to any of the other kids about it and they'd be all like,
"Oh, he can't beat Goku though, he can't beat Goku though."
I don't give a fuck. Shut the fuck up, Derek. But what really ticked me off was, he was right. Naruto can't beat Goku. Naruto would get his shit kicked in. Naruto would die. I would get home and play my stupid little Naruto Xbox 360 game and go, man, I wish there was an anime fighting game where I can fight Goku and also play as Naruto. Luckily for me, 2018 marked Shonen Jump's 50th anniversary. And to celebrate, they had something big in mind. Something you might wanna jump for. Something that might force you to go grab your wallet. E3 2018. A new trailer by Bandai Namco and... No way, is that Naruto? In real life? In One Piece? No way this is happening. Holy shit. Look at how all the cop cars are destroyed and stuff. That's how you know this is serious. Holy shit. Naruto in New York City. And is that Luffy on the American flag? This was Jump Force, the anime crossover fighting game to end all anime fighting games. You don't even have to make any more anime fighting games after this. Just play Jump Force. People were hyped.
I am hyped.
The game looked sick. The game looked ambitious. You also gotta remember that this was 2018. Demon Slayer's success has made it legally and socially acceptable to show outward interest in this game. The second trailer came out, the game looked epic. This one guy in the comments said, they all look like they're oiled up. Gon is like 10, you sick fuck. I remember talking about this game with a friend at the time who was planning on getting it, and I told him, there's only one final roster announcement before the game comes out, and I'll only get the game if it's like Dio or some shit. It was an announcement for Dio or some shit. Surely this game will live up to the hype, right? Games always live up to the hype. I have never once in my entire life seen a game that did not live up to the hype. All they need to do now is not fuck it up. They fucked it up. Pretty much immediately after the game came out, public sentiment towards the game plummeted. People were not happy. I was not happy. At launch, the game sold around 78,000 copies in Japan alone. That sounds like a lot at first, but a month earlier, Kingdom Hearts 3 released, which sold almost double the amount of copies. Oh, sorry, did I say double? I meant 8 times the sales. Okay, I know that's like comparing a Ford to any other car, but come on. This was supposed to be the anime fighting game of all time, and those launch numbers were not cutting it. The reviews weren't much better either. The game is sitting at a 56 on Metacritic, which is worse than Mort the Chicken. Imagine getting mogged by Mort the Chicken. So what happened? Well, let's start with something superficial. The graphics. Usually, I don't really talk about graphics because they aren't really an aspect of games that really matters to me all too much. But with the Jump Force, it's worth talking about because the game looks like this. Look at this shit. This shit looks like Super Mario in real life. This shit looks like Mario in Unreal Engine 5. This is what Dragon Ball will look like in 2013. For some reason, only God knows why, the geniuses behind this game decided the best art style for their anime crossover fighting game was this goofy looking faux realism that makes every character just look awful. This looks like Super Smash Bros. Brawl, but instead of a fucked up, twisted, desolate 1-1, we have Los Angeles on a Tuesday. I understand that this was always going to be a bit complicated choosing an art style because even though all these characters are coming from anime and manga, they still have their own art styles, color palettes, shading, you know, because the original characters, they weren't all created by the same mangaka, they were created by a whole bunch of different people. But who at Bandai Namco was like, guys, we need to do the Smash Bros. Brawl realism. That game looks fucking awesome. And it will continue to look awesome in 20 years because everyone knows realistic graphics always age far better than stylistic graphics. Just look at some of these characters, ew! It was never a deal breaker for me the same way it was for some other people, but it's just ugly. And a little soulless too. Like they're not even trying to appeal to their core audience. You know, anime fans who might like if the game looks a little more animated. If I got to pick an art style, I think they should have just embraced the differences between different styles. Make it look like the Spider-Verse movies or Gumball. Make each character as faithful as possible to their most iconic art style and colors, and then it might look kinda cool seeing those art styles clash. That would also fit into the whole theme of this game being all worlds colliding and all that. But enough dilly-dallying. I think it's about time we jump right into this puppy. So the first thing we get launching this game is the intro cutscene, which is the same as the E3 2018 trailer. But after that, we get to make our own character. Because yes, not only is Goku coming to Chicago, but myself, I get to be in the Jump Force. When creating a character, you're given 4 options for body types: a martial arts body, a pirate body, a ninja body, and a samurai body. Supposedly, these are supposed to change your fighting style, but we'll get into that later, so I just chose samurai. The character customization is, it's alright, I guess. You get these little sliders for your body that don't do anything, and I kinda wish there were more normal hairstyles, but you know what? It's okay. I got all the funkiness out of my system when I played Ark. I can deal with a more toned down character creator. After mullying it over for a bit, I decided to make Isaac from The Binding of Isaac. After creating our character, we are dropped into Jump Force HQ. I think this was supposed to be a big social hub where you can interact with people and show off your custom characters. But in 2022, only 3 years after the game launched, the game's servers were shut down and the game was delisted from digital stores. The only reason I can make this video now is because I'm a few unfortunate enough to still have this game on Steam. The HQ is so weirdly ominous when it's empty. I have vague memories of it being packed with people running around, but now it's a ghost town. There are these NPCs that aimlessly run around, but it's not the same. This hub acts like a main menu. To get to different modes, you go and talk to different people. Personally, I've always found these kind of hubs cumbersome, but frankly, this is the least of Jump Force's issues, so I'll let it slide for now. I would have liked to showcase how good the online multiplayer is in this game, considering how important that usually is to the longevity of a fighting game, but if they were shutting down the servers so soon into the game's lifespan, I think that tells you all you need to know. Fortunately for me, Steam does have a feature called Remote Play, where you can stream the game to friends and have them play local split screen through the internet. And that's exactly what I did.
Yeah. So yeah, this is my my little Isaac from The Binding of Isaac.
That's pretty good.
The hub is also where you go to talk to different NPCs to play through the story missions. Oh, that's right, the story. Oh, you guys are lucky I haven't talked about that yet. So, you don't think Goku and Jotaro and others just so happen to bump into each other at the quickie, right? No, that's stupid. What actually happened is that these evil portals of malice and chaos opened up in the real world, and out came these evil demon guys, and now they're destroying our world, but Goku! So now all the universes, including ours, and including the Jump, the anime universes, they're all jumbled together into one like mega cluster, and all the villains from all the Shonen series are like, hey, let's all team up and make one supervillain squad. And we'll also use these Venom guys because they're evil too. And then every anime protagonist is like, holy shit, we need to make anime Avengers, and we'll call ourselves Jump Force, because we are characters from Shonen Jump, and we will protect every universe and defeat every villain and defeat every Venom. And that's about it for the story. If I had to use 2 words to describe the story in this game, it would be corny and lame. I'm not expecting like Red Dead 2 storytelling from my anime crossover fighting game, but you had all these characters and worlds to work with, and this was the best you can come up with? Jump Force? Jump Force? It just reeks of apathy. Like there's no passion or care put into any of the story or the dialogue. I mean, just look at how awful these cutscenes are. Look at Frieza just floating away. How did they get away with this?
Super move, go! What the fuck?
Oh, and the dialogue. The dialogue is rough. Every character is just a shell of their actual character. Like, Luffy doesn't feel like Luffy. He feels like a Luffy parody. But it's not just Luffy, it's everyone. But I did want to give this game's story a proper chance. So I sat there and I forced myself to pay attention. And guess what? There basically is no story! Almost every mission is the exact same. Director Glover, this ugly bald fuck, who is the leader of Jump Force for whatever reason, is all like, we've detected an evil anime character, possessed by venom, or just a normal villain, I don't know. Player character, you and one other good anime character will go fight them. And then afterwards, the possessed character is all like, oops, sorry guys, I was possessed. I will now join Jump Force because I don't know. Don't you guys have better things to do? The only thing I kinda like about the story is Light Yagami. Light is from Death Note, which is a series that, doesn't really have all too much action, especially not from Light. So he doesn't exactly fit in with the other characters like Goku, Jotaro, and Naruto. There's also the fact that Light is a narcissistic, mass-murdering sociopath, so at the beginning of the game when he's joining up with Jump Force, I was all like, that's kinda strange. What's up with that? At first I thought they were just too lazy and didn't care that this kind of hero thing doesn't really suit Light. But spoilers for a dead game you can't even buy anymore. At the end of the story, Light is revealed to be a twist villain. He's been doing all his brainy Death Note style shenanigans in the background all along, because he's no longer interested in becoming god of his own world. He now wants to become god of every world. That is actually pretty cool, and is a good example of Jump Force using a character from one of its many series and using the premise of a big crossover between worlds to do something interesting and believable with one of its characters. But this only frustrates me more because clearly they can come up with something interesting, but they just choose not to bother with every single other character in this game. Speaking of characters, I think it's time to touch on the roster because it sure is a roster. The base game has 43 different characters, which is honestly not too shabby. Unfortunately, these picks are kinda whack. We got the big four, and each of them have more than enough characters. And then we got the JoJo's guys. We got the Hunter Hunters. Yugi is a super cool pick. I'm very glad he's in this game. But then we got shit like this. Who the fuck is Prometheus? Does he look familiar? Well, he shouldn't.
Okay, so check out these iconic anime characters, such as
Yeah, I see on the
Prometheus.
left. Who is that? Who is that?
Stop!
I guess having access to all of Shonen Jump's characters weren't enough to fill out a roster, because this game added 3 completely new, original, but ugly and boring characters: Cain, Galena, and Prometheus.
Alright, here's my second favorite character.
Dragon Ball.
Galena. I also... Cain. Cain's pretty cool.
Came from what,
He's-
dude?
I'm usually a the more the merrier kind of guy, but this is not one of those cases. It's like if Gumby came to Smash Bros. Like, no, we're not upset Gumby is gonna be in Smash Bros. Gumby is freaking awesome. We're upset because Gumby being in Smash Bros. Is taking that roster pick away from characters who deserve to be in a Smash Bros. Game far more than Gumby. Oh, hold up now. Did somebody say post-launch DLC fighters? Oh, hopefully we can diversify the roster and maybe even represent some more niche shonen series that are in need of some... It's Boo. It's Boo from Dragon Ball. You're gonna get Boo from Dragon Ball, and you're gonna like it. There comes a point where it becomes redundant to keep adding characters of one series because you've already sold fans of that series onto the game. No One Piece fan is going, well, I wanted to get the game, but there's only 6 One Piece characters. Oh, 7 One Piece characters? Take my money, Bandai! Instead of over-representing certain series, why not prioritize representing as many series as possible? One extra One Piece character is not gonna suddenly persuade any One Piece fans who have not already been persuaded, but if you add Gintoki, maybe you could have swayed some Gintama fans to try out your game. But Trafalgar Law and Boo were not the only DLC fighters added to the game. The game actually got a good amount of DLC fighters. Unfortunately, since the game was taken off the Steam store, I have no way of buying them. Actually, I should count my blessings on that one. There were 14 DLC characters released across 2 seasons, 9 in the first and 5 in the second. If you're wondering why Season 2's pass only had half the characters as Season 1, it's because the game was already so dead that by Season 2 they had to cut it in half. I do actually like a lot of these DLC picks. Biscuit Kruger, Meruem, Giorno Giovanna, even Trafalgar D. Law, even though I think One Piece is already overrepresented. You could make the argument that he's popular enough of a character that he should have been in the base game. But do you notice a pattern with the DLC fighters? Why are all the DLC characters only from series already represented in the base game? Where is Demon Slayer? You know, the one Shonen Jump manga to break One Piece's 11-year streak of being the best-selling manga series? This game came out during prime Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer was inescapable back in 2020, and you're telling me they didn't think to capitalize on that popularity? All they needed was like Tanjiro, just one character, and I guarantee people would have ate that up. They added Giorno as a DLC fighter, likely to capitalize on Golden Wind's success since that just aired recently, so clearly they're at least partially aware of what's popular. No Demon Slayer and Jump Force. We need 7 Bleach fighters. 7 more Bleach fighters to Jump Force. We don't have space. If we had Tanjiro, we wouldn't have enough space for Prometheus. And if we can't have Prometheus, then what the hell was the point of this game at all? What are we even doing here?
Do something useful.
Oh shit. Oh shit.
Okay.
What are you doing? Hey, no pausing.
Who is who? Am I getting my ass beat or am I beating yo ass?
Yeah.
I thought they would have like given
different colors. Yeah.
With every DLC, the final roster comes out to 57 characters, which sounds impressive, but Naruto, One Piece, Dragon Ball, and Bleach each had 7 characters, which means of the 57 characters, 28 of them come from one of the big 4. If I run those numbers on my calc real quick, that means that in Jump Force, 47% of characters come from 4 series. That's kind of ridiculous. So many series only got one fighter to represent, which makes sense for a more niche series such as City Hunter. But then there's stuff like My Hero Academia and Black Clover. Both of those series only got one character in the base game. And I mean, maybe I'm misremembering, but I feel like in 2019, both those series, especially My Hero Academia, was very popular. At least they actually got a character. This is supposed to be a celebration of Shonen Jump as a whole. I understand that these are some of Shonen Jump's most popular series, but sometimes it really doesn't feel like a Shonen Jump crossover fighter. It just feels like a Naruto versus Goku versus Luffy versus Ichigo fighting game, with special guests like Kenshiro every once in a while. Where is Koro-sensei? Let me play as Funny Yellow Octopus Man. Actually, now that I think about it, the roster really does lack some fun, wacky picks. Pretty much everyone in here except for like the Yu-Gi-Oh bros are traditional fighters. Well, duh, it is a fighting game after— Quiet, stupid. Yes, it is a fighting game, but if multiverses could make LeBron James into a fighter, why can't Jump Force make like, I don't know, the cat from Madoka Magica into a fighter? Oh, it's not published by Shonen Jump, never mind. Also, when I'm using multiverses as an example of doing something right, that's a really bad sign. The only thing weirder than the roster in this game is the map selection. Actually, no, I take it back. Jump Force only has incredible maps. Why? I can't seem to pick my favorite. I think my favorite map is Los Angeles. No wait, New York City. No wait, Hong Kong. No wait, Mexico, just the whole country of Mexico, I guess. Actually, no, it's San Francisco. Actually, no, it's Paris. No, wait, there are 17 stages in this game, and this is where they could have gotten really creative. Think of all the cool set pieces that come from Shonen series that would have made for really cool maps. But for some reason, half of them are just real-life cities. That's right, I'm picking up the anime crossover fighting game because I really want to fight in New Zealand. I hear that is a great place for a brawl. Like, I get the whole point of the game is the whole merging of the anime multiverse in our world, but dude, half of them? I can promise you from first-hand experience, LA is not that gas. Now a Toronto map on the other hand, hey, you wanna know what's funny? Guess which series every other non-real world map comes from? That's right, Naruto, One Piece, Dragon Ball. I bet you're expecting me to say Bleach, but no, they couldn't even make a single Bleach map. It's just Naruto, One Piece, and Dragon Ball now. Bleach? Bye-bye, Bleach. You're not making the cut anymore. Dude, what if Super Smash Bros. Only had Mario, Kirby, and Zelda maps? How lame would that be? I don't even get it. Like, if the Jump Force devs loved their real-world maps so much, why didn't they just double up? Like, you could have had an Egypt map that doubles as both a JoJo's map, but also just another real-world map. How do you miss that opportunity? But it gets even weirder. Because of the universe merging shenanigans, there are different anime references scattered around the real world maps. For example, in the background of the New Zealand map, you can see the Black Whale, which is a ship from Hunter x Hunter. On one hand, that's a reference to the Succession War arc, which is an absolutely goated arc. I love that arc, and it will probably never get animated, so seeing a reference to it in this game is cool as hell. But on the other hand, if you wanted to make a plain beach map with a big reference in the back to Hunter x Hunter, just make a Hunter x Hunter map!
Let's go.
Alright, let's talk about the combat, because you guys know I saved the best for last. Let's start with the pros. For one, the game is very flashy. Even if I don't like the art style all too much, a lot of the moves in the game are admittedly kinda cool to look at, especially with all the particle effects. I also like that for the most part, a lot of the cinematic attacks are pretty fast, which is important in keeping the flow of battle moving quick. Everything else though, kinda sucks. My two biggest issues with Jump Force's combat is that it's super basic and that everyone feels the same. You know that stereotype of fighting games that you can just win by mashing one button? Well, that's basically every single fight in Jump Force. Every character in this game has the same basic combo that you do by just spamming the light attack button. Occasionally, there will be like one move in the combo that's visually different, but for most characters, it's just the same thing. It doesn't even make sense for some characters. Not every anime character can teleport. Why does the basic combo every character have end in a teleport attack? Remember the different fighting styles I talked about earlier that you can select for your custom character? It's a lie. They all fight the exact same. The only difference are the visuals. The mechanics don't change. This makes every fight in Jump Force feel the same. It doesn't matter who you pick or who your opponent picks. Every fight just boils down to the same basic combo every match. Maybe in high-tier competitive gaming it's different and being more creative is better, but for like 90% of people who play this game, it's just easier and stronger to play super aggressive, spamming the same combo every character has. This makes the game get boring really quickly. When the facade clears away and you get to see what this game really is, the illusion of the amazing possibilities of having 50 plus characters to choose from fades away. Jump Force is also an assist fighter, meaning instead of picking one character per fight, you get to pick 3. These backup characters are both extra moves you can use during a fight, and also backup fighters you can swap to whenever you want. Apparently assist fighters get a bad rep amongst the fighting game community. I am not a part of that community, so I don't really know why. But frankly, I think it's a godsend in Jump Force, because if Jump Force didn't have the assist mechanics, what the fuck would this game even have?
Holy shit, look at Black.
The answer is Prometheus. We would still have Prometheus. Yo, why is he hitting the... The only unique moves characters get are their abilities, in which each character is giving 4. With one of them being their awakening move, which is your super ultimate move that only becomes available once your awakening gauge reaches at least half. Every character can also use this gauge to awaken, which is stuff like Goku going Super Saiyan or Naruto going Sage Mode. But for most characters, it's just a generic buff because a lot of these characters don't have modes they swap between. It feels like a feature very much geared towards Naruto, Bleach, One Piece, and Dragon Ball. Even most of the unique abilities in this game work the exact same with only slight variation and a different cutscene that plays. To be fair, some are unique. For example, Kurapika has a healing ability. It really fucking does anything. I don't know, it's kind of cool, I guess. My favorite ability in the game comes from Yugi, who has a gambling ability, where you can draw a random card that gives a random effect. Some characters also have unique quirks, such as Dio being unable to be selected on daytime maps because he's a vampire, and yes, although that is a cool detail, you gotta give me more than that, man.
How did Dio cause that anyway?
No idea, because he doesn't have anything in his kit. If it was like something that like Prometheus! Fucking Prometheus!
Sanji actually has a negative character quirk. Normally, he's a pretty good fighter, but secretly, he actually has 2 movesets, one for fighting guys and one for fighting gals. That is a pretty fun character detail, one that makes sense for his character, but unfortunately, it makes playing Sanji a huge gamble, because his fighting style when fighting women is intentionally made super weak. So all your opponent needs to do to completely dominate you whenever you're playing Sanji is to switch to a female character every time Sanji comes out. Sanji, I know you have no problem hitting children, but you need to start hitting women or we're gonna lose.
Okay.
After playing Jump Force for about 10 hours, I can see why the player base for this game fell off a cliff so soon after launch. The fighting is just boring. It's cool at first, but the deeper you get, the more shallow you realize it is and the more repetitive every fight feels. It's really disappointing. Everything about this game is disappointing. And with how much hype this game got before its release, it's weird to me how basically nobody even talks about this game anymore. But now I see why. It's just a nothing burger of a game. You know, I kind of wish it was even worse because then it becomes so bad that it's fun to point and laugh at. But I don't know, Jump Force is just sad.
Okay, no, the rocket launchers are absolutely worthless. What the fuck?
I haven't mentioned them yet in this video, but this actually isn't the first Jump crossover fighting game. The first I heard of and the one that garnered the most mainstream appeal, but there's been 7 Jump crossover games over the last few decades. So even though Jump Force was a total failure, I think it's pretty likely we will get another one not too far off into the future. But even though it's only been about 6 or 7 years, Shonen Jump as a company has changed so much. Whereas Jump Force was dominated by series of the past, such as Naruto, Dragon Ball, One Piece, and Bleach, I think a modern Jump fighter would be the opposite. A lot of the more popular shonens of the past 5 years have been new series, like Jujutsu Kaisen, Demon Slayer, and Chainsaw Man. And they'd have to appeal to those audiences if they want their game to get the attention of the greater anime community. Man, it's not even that hard, okay? Put me in charge of Jump Force as sequel. I can make it a good game. Bandai Namco, hit me up. All we'd have to do is have a better roster, have better maps, have better combat, have a better art style, don't shut down the game after only a couple of years, make the dialogue and story not complete doo-doo fart, make the game fun, make the game good, add Chewy Dog 1 as a fighter, and then we'd actually have a good game on our hands.
Is he jacking off?